Welcome to Hilarious Radio.
Home of McDonald's.
That's right, baby. You tuned into the #1 station this side of Tampa Bay.
I am the Hamburglar.
And I'm Grimace. And together we bring you McDonald's tips and tricks.
I'm a Burger King.
No, you're fucking not. Get the hell out of
I'm
here.
a fucking Burger King. Deal with it.
I guess I gotta deal with it. Hey, listen. If you're listening expecting McDonald's tips and tricks, well, guess what? You just got played because this is not a McDonald's podcast.
This is not yet. It could be.
It could
but
be.
No.
What we are is the Island Shuffle. My name Bean.
My name Jim.
And together we watched Lost in the Wrong Order, the hit show, ABC's pivotal lightning in a bottle drama,
That
Lost.
everybody loves.
Everybody loves this show. It's talk of the town. You go to work and everybody's gathered around the water cooler and they're saying, "Wow, did you see last night's episode of the heavily serialized drama that features an ensemble cast and a spiraling mystery? It's called Lost."
I thought that was the new Avengers.
Oh, buddy, get with the times. Lost is what everyone's talking about.
Wow.
In the year 2019,
My Motorola Crazer.
#1 trending on your Motorola Crazer is the show called ABC's hit Lost.
Hey, turn up the remote because I want to have a slice of this. Welcome to the Island Shuffle.
Welcome to the Island Shuffle, and we love to talk about our favorite show. What did we even do this week? Oh, I know what we did. We watched Lost.
We watched Lost. We watched a good episode, Season 2, Episode 17. It was called Locke's Bad Dad.
As all Locke episodes are.
It was called Silly Dad.
It's called Silly Dad Alert.
Silly Dad, back at it again.
It's called Warning, Silly Dad inside of this episode.
It was called The Silliest Dad That You're going to see tonight.
Unless your dad is really silly.
Yeah,
and you have a good relationship
if
with
your dad is Carrot Top.
If your dad is Carrot Top.
If your dad is a professional wrestler.
Now wrestling to me is silly.
It's frivolous. Honestly, their issue is tiny in the grand scheme of things. War is bigger.
War is bigger than wrestling.
Police shooting the bad guys.
These men in their outfits and muscles in this silly little square fighting over petty belts and whatever else. When society is the way it is.
Society is going, the firefighter puts out the fire, and you're going to tell me the belt is #1? Whenever the siren goes off and they go down the pole, and so many men in one truck.
So many men in one truck. To the muscled wrestlers out there, and I know you're listening, to all of you out there who are frothing at the mouth to do a suplex or a people's elbow upon your foes. What if you did a people's elbow on society's foes?
Do a people's elbow on capitalism.
Yeah.
What if you people's elbowed the money right out of Kevin O'Leary's bank account, put it into mine?
Now that's cool.
Wait.
Kevin O'Leary wakes up one morning and goes, "Wait a second. I don't remember this transaction at all."
Doi.
And then James is boating off into the sunset with his new friends, all of the wrestlers.
Me and all the wrestlers on our giant little boat.
Your giant little boat full of you and all the wrestlers, and none of them are fighting anymore. They're all friends because they are unified in a common cause.
But speaking of a crime that involves stealing money,
yes.
John Locke's dad.
This episode, by the way, is actually called Lockdown. I don't think we ever said that. We got so lost in the real.
And Locke is down in this episode.
Locke is down. He's not up. Well, he's up at first, because guess what? He's dating a sweet little lady named
Helen.
Yep. Played by Katey Segal.
Katey Segal.
Of Married with Children fame, of Futurama fame.
Yes.
And this is our first time seeing Helen, I think. She has been alluded to. We've visited her tombstone.
Helen. Oh, Helen dies?
Helen dies. When Locke tries to recruit everybody, he goes
and tells Helen that he failed.
He goes and tells Helen the tombstone that he failed. But here, Helen's alive and thriving.
Alive and thriving.
Alive and thrive and.
And you know what? They are happy, I guess. They're just hanging out. Locke is getting ready to propose, and they're like, hey, let's go on a picnic right now. And Locke says, you just sit down and read the obituaries first. He literally says this. Well, I make you breakfast, and then we'll go on the picnic where I propose marriage to you.
And Helen says, that sounds great. I love to read the obituaries.
And then she reads the obituaries, and she's like, Locke, your father has died.
And Locke is feeling mixed about this.
Yeah.
As a quick recap, Locke's father abandoned him for most of his life. Showed up out of the blue, tricked Locke into donating him a kidney, and then just abandoned him once again. And we haven't seen the start of Helen's relationship, but from the previously on, it seems like Helen was kind of just like, you're obsessed with him. You're obsessed with your dad. You need to move past him, and then we can go on together. And so that's where it's at, more or less.
And now she's like, he's dead. And Locke, predictable Locke, is like, well, let's go to the funeral.
Classic Locke, mourning his dead relatives.
And they go to the funeral. There's no one else there.
There's no one else there.
Except for two people who aren't even really there.
They aren't even really there. They're just off to the side, and they look really normal and regular. They look regular and fine.
They have suits. One of them has long hair.
One of them is big. They're fine. They're just regular, and they're there. They're probably not important.
I don't know.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. One thing I want to point out is that Katey Segal hits him with the little burn. He's like, "Hey, Locke, are you sure you want to go through with this? We can just go on that picnic if you want." Well, all right, if you're sure. Maybe he left you his kidney, and
that's
they both
funny.
And they both have a bit of a chuckle at.
Dad stole my kidney.
They're able to laugh at this thing, which Locke had so much resentment about.
Yeah.
And Locke goes to the funeral, and it's literally, and the priest says, ashes to ashes, and all that,
dust to dust,
all that, whatever. And he says, you're the only person here, Mr. Locke. You want to say a little something, something before we put this sad sack in the earth? And
sad sack of shit.
And Locke says, he gets up and he humbly whispers to the coffin and he says, I forgive ya.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Big.
And Locke finds a bit of closure, and that's all that happens.
That's
and
the end of Locke's story.
Has a happy time. He finds closure with this thing that's been troubling.
That was a record scratch.
Oh, you thought you were watching the show where people get to be happy, and no.
Hell nah.
Hell no.
What do you think you're doing here, little ding-a-ling? No one gets to be happy. Locke is in a bar alone on some other day, or he's in a restaurant alone, or he's somewhere and he's alone.
No, not even. He's doing his job. Remember?
Oh, he's at his job. He's doing his job.
He's doing his job of, looking at a house and telling someone how the house is.
Yeah.
Home inspector, I think.
Yeah.
He's doing that. He tells a little someone called Nadia.
Yeah.
He walks up to Nadia, who is famously Saeed's GF. Yeah, Saeed's old GF from the
one
war.
He tortured.
The one he. No, Saeed didn't torture her.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, he didn't. He refused to.
No, in fact, Saeed freed her, and now she's living a life. And Locke's inspecting her home and saying, you got a great home. It looks like you got a lovely little home here. And Nadia says, thanks, bye. And then Locke goes home, and Carr pulls up to Locke and says, hey, Locke, remember me? And rolls down the window and guess.
Papa Boy P.
Papa Boy P. It's Daddy.
It's your daddy.
It's the silliest dad of all time. Nothing's more sillier than faking your own death.
Oh, and this is what my dad did last time, said John Locke, when he was telling us this story. And his dad is like, John, I had to fake my own death because there's two men who are trying to kill me because I stole $700,000 from them, and now it's in a safety deposit box, and I need you to go get it for me.
And Locke right away is like, hey, do you think I'm a big dumb dipshit? You stole my kidney. What'd you do to these guys? Steal their liver?
Funny. Yes, he
Cracking
does make
one.
that joke, and it's so lit. It's like, John Locke, because you're bald, I assumed you weren't funny. But now that you made that joke, I know that you're not funny.
I like the almost confident Locke we get in this episode.
Yeah, totally.
He's like
He has a bit of hair, actually.
He has a bit of hair still, and he's also just like he's got a GF. He's got a life that he's happy about. This is like the happiest we see Locke ever.
Trying to make the next step, make her his fiance.
Yeah, good for
Make
Locke.
him her fiance.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, Dad comes through and ruins it all.
Yep.
Hey, kiddo, it's Dad. Trying to take that fishing trip.
So before we take that fishing trip, I just need you to, son, take this safety deposit key. And Dad hits him with the all the like, I know that what I did was wrong, and if I'm just gonna leave this key with you, and I'll be gone in a day, money or no money, no matter what you decide. If I don't see you again, I'll understand. But you're my last hope. He's fucking manipulating him, dude.
Yeah, he's manipulating the shit out of this poor little old man.
But Locke falls for it, hook, line, and sinker.
He says, "I'll do anything you ask, Dad."
And Locke goes to the safe deposit box. Sure enough, there's a bunch of money in there. And he comes home beaming. He comes home, pack your bag, honey, Helen, guess what?
I'm taking you out on the town. We're going to paint the town tonight.
We're going to put on your fanciest clothes and your swankiest diamond earrings that you got.
John, there's two men who want to talk to you.
Oh, no. And,
Not the men.
And these aren't just any men.
These are the men from the funeral, the ones that you thought they didn't even mean anything. They were just two random extras, but it turns out they were like crooks or something.
They're crooks. These guys are crook-ass crooks from head to toe.
And the one who talks, his name is Jimmy. He talks with one of those voices,
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you about money that was stolen.
Hey, you gotta love the home. It's very like someone's like strangling Marlon Brando's Godfather kind of vibe. Like
someone is strangling Marlon Brando's Godfather, and then in the midst of it, Marlon Brando dies, and then there's this little ghost voice that speaks, but it doesn't even speak out of his voice box. It speaks out of his belly button.
That's true.
And it's like, that's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a dead Marlon Brando's belly button whispering sweet nothings into your ear.
Yeah, and it's like, yes. But that's not what John Locke says.
That's not what John Locke says. John Locke says, these guys are like, hey, we were associates of your father, and we just had a couple quick questions for you, buddy. And you haven't happened to. We saw you at the funeral, and we thought, you didn't seem that shaken up, so we thought maybe there's a chance you're still alive.
How
eh?
dare you? You don't know what John's father did to him. You don't understand the whole thing at all. You're a disgusting man. Get out of my frickin' home.
All right. I don't mean to upset the grieving family, but I got one little question.
What is it?
Mr. Locke, what the hell is in your little bag?
It's just stuff for work.
Oh, if it's just stuff for work, if it's just a little work, you got a little screwdriver, a little voltmeter, a little ammeter. You got pipe, you got documents for housing and building codes. Oh, I bet you do. Well, I'm sure you won't mind if we take a little peeky into that little sack of yours, Mr. Locke.
Why, not at all, my long-haired friend.
Oh, we'll just take this and we'll dump it out.
Dump it out of the frickin'...
And we're all sitting on the edge of our seats.
We're thinking going nuts. We think he has a big pile of money in there.
But thankfully, sure enough, work trinkets and all is all that comes out of that.
It's just a work bag. So those people are like, well,
that's that for us. I guess we're done.
Egg on our face.
And then we never see those people again.
That's it. Problem solved.
They're done. It was that easy to get rid of them.
It's that easy. I
They're
mean,
like,
you just had to
didn't
think.
have a bag of money. I don't know. I thought he would.
He didn't. Well, I guess that's the only place you can hide a stash of money, huh?
It's in the bag you're currently carrying. I love how a man faked his own death, had a funeral with an obituary and a death certificate, and that was not enough to convince them. But then they went and saw someone, they were like, open your bag, and it wasn't a bag full of money, and they're like, I don't know. I'm stumped.
I'm stumped. That's it. That was our only lead.
He was carrying a bag. Any bag could have been full of money.
Here's okay, boss. Here's our leads. We heard this guy died, so we went to the funeral. There was someone else there, so we went and interrogated him.
He had a bag.
We opened his bag. There's nothing in there. I don't know.
We're
man.
done. We're done. The whole operation's done.
It's a dead end. He's gone. He tricked us. He bested us.
But that's what happens.
I think Anthony Cooper is just like good at picking out rubes, no matter whether they're sad guys who work at a toy store or like
These
fucking big time crooks.
Yeah, he is. He just finds rubes.
He's just got a great sense of rube.
Then Helen, she's like, "You weren't lying to those men, were you, darling?"
Mm-hmm.
And John Locke is like, "Oh, I know. I was just scared. My female friend, my life companion."
And Helen's like, "Yes, that's the Locke I know and love. That's the normal, regular Locke that I can trust and love. Oh, come here. Oh, we've been through so much. Gosh, what a trying ordeal.
One kidney man.
As if this whole ordeal wasn't trying enough. Let me give you a hug and trust you again."
And then, but he was freaking lying to her, because then he goes to a seedy motel that is so close to the airport. It's terrifyingly. I don't think anything is that close to an airport.
The thing about airports is they're big.
The plane flies like 20 feet away from the motel.
Yeah, I don't know. Our airport is like 5 years away.
Yeah, it's 100 meters.
It's a long times away.
And he goes and he knocks on a door, and his dad's in the door.
His dad's in the door, and he says, "Come on in, buddy." And he says, "Oh, you got the money. That's great. Here's your share. And here's your share. Here's my cut, and I'll be out of here."
And Locke is like, "I didn't do it for the money."
And his dad's like, "Well, what did you do it for?"
And Locke doesn't answer, and I think it means he wants his dad to love him.
And Anthony Cooper, ever the ass, says, "Well, I guess I got a plane to catch. See ya." He also dips, but while he's like packing up his money, he says like, "Hey, who's that dame you brought to my funeral?"
I want to say that to my child one day. "Hey, who's that dame you brought to my funeral?" She's quite a looker.
When you take on the incredible responsibility of parenting, those are the things you live for. That's what you live for.
"Hey, who's that dame you brought to my funeral, old boy?" "Hey, yeah, 45 years old, finally got yourself a girlfriend. You late bloomer, just like your old man. Ha ha." "I waited till after death to talk to my kids. Ha ha."
Can I tell you something? Our voice work this episode has been like unparalleled.
That's really good.
It's really just, we're really inhabiting these roles, I feel.
How about you give your old daddy a kiss on the ring?
Oh, well,
You're not too old to kiss your daddy's ring, are you?
Oh, well, you might have stolen my liver, and you might be about to ruin my marriage, but I'll give you a little smooch. Mwah. Okay, that's enough.
3 kisses on the rings.
3 kisses.
One for each undergraduate graduating class ring.
Whoa, Dad, you got a lot of degrees.
I got a Bachelor of Arts. I got a Bachelor of Science. And I got one for just being a bachelor.
Wow, Dad, all these years, and I never knew you were so accomplished.
Yeah.
In academia.
I tried to get a master's once. fell down the stairs. Was in a coma for 9 years.
No.
It's sort of threw the whole thing off track. There's a lot about your pups you don't know, you know.
Clearly, we should really repair this bridge once you're done fleeing the country and all.
My real name's Logan Flamdummering.
Logan?
I'm from the Netherlands.
No way. I may have just met you a couple weeks ago, but this is golly. You're really unloading a lot of information on me on your way out the door.
Goodbye, son.
Bye.
I got a plane to catch.
Wait, who's that at the door?
Oh, it's your girlfriend, that dame from the funeral.
No, Dad, that's my hopefully fiance.
Oh,
we should stop calling her Dame.
I don't know, son. She looks pretty mad to see us.
And Helen's at the door.
Yeah.
Helen's at the door when Cooper's trying to leave. And Helen slaps him on the face and says, "How dare you? What if, after all you've done to him, to do this also, to fake your death and involve him in this weird crime thing? What in the world are you doing?"
Which is a reasonable response.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yes, Helen, you're right.
Correct. And Helen turns around, and then Locke chases after him, and Helen says, "You lied to me, Locke. What the hell? You looked me in the eye and you said you didn't know that your dad was still alive, and yet here you are. That's it, bub. I gave you an ultimatum once.
I'm done.
Me or your dad, and I'm done out of here. I'm hightailing it." And Locke says, "Wait, Helen, no. I made a mistake. I love you more than anything. My life is the world without you. With you, I mean. That's so good. I'm just so..." And he panics and kind of pulls out a ring.
He proposes. A sad propose.
He proposes panically in the parking lot of this seedy-ass motel. And guess what? Helen says no.
She says no, and she drives away.
And then we get a shot of Cooper entering a cab and not waving goodbye to his son, just also leaving. And then that's...
John Locke is alone.
John Locke is left alone.
And the whole thing I'm so frustrated by with it is at no point does John Locke ever tell Helen that he has $200,000 for them to start their life anew.
Yes.
And I feel like that's his biggest selling point right now.
That's a big get. I would, Cooper's done a lot to Locke.
Yeah.
Locke isn't within his reason to turn up his nose, walk away. But Cooper plainly offers him $200,000 for this service.
Yeah.
And then
it's a great job.
It's easy. You go to the safe deposit box. You easily lie to a mobster once.
The two men are clearly buffoons.
And then you're in the clear. You got $200,000. Here's what even also happens.
Mm-hmm.
When Locke says, "I didn't do this for the money," and Cooper says, "Well, listen, if you don't want the cash, the maid's gonna get a heck of a tip." The fate of the $200,000 is just sitting there when Locke storms out. It's just there. Locke is left alone, but he still has this
get your money, you idiot.
Yeah, go get your money.
Goodbye. Like, I don't want the money anymore, because I will tell you, no one does that with $200,000. Maybe if it was like $200.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I don't care about that." It's like,
you just lost your dad and your girlfriend.
And $200,000?
At the very least, go get $200,000 that you earned.
Yeah. It's like someone bought your dad and your girlfriend for $200,000.
Is it worth it? I don't think so necessarily, but at least take the money. What are you doing?
My God.
Anyways, that's Locke's life.
That's stupid. No, it's good. It's fun.
It's mostly fine.
Yeah.
I think
it's just that thing at the end.
I think
it's just that they never address the money.
They never address the money is my one main concern. I always, and I'll say this every time Kevin Tighe is on the screen. One of the most inspired guest casts they've done is that he fucking plays that bad dad sleazeball con dad to a fucking T.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's delightful to watch him fucking be just slimy ass.
Be an idiot.
Just be a jerk ass fool.
Dinkleberry.
Be a real dingus, a mingus.
So that's that.
That's the past. But what of the present?
Oh my God. Well, John Locke in the present, he has his hands tied as well, because there's this little man that he has to take care of underneath the surface of the earth. I'm underneath the surface of the earth taking care of a little man.
What if you are scrolling through the TV guide? Oh, Lost is on in 5 minutes. What's this episode about? The summary just reads, John Locke has to take care of a little man underneath the surface of the earth. I'd say this is worth tuning into.
This is perfect.
This is television, baby.
And who's the little man? It's Henry Gale.
It's Henry Gale.
Gale the snail.
You and I know him as Benjamin Linus. But at this point, the gang thinks it's Henry Gale. In fact, the first scene we see is Henry Gale Henry Gale has drawn a map to his balloon. He claims to have crashed here on a hot air balloon with his wife. He's drawn a map, and there's a crew out looking for the balloon. And he's given a little tale to Jack and Locke saying, hey, oh, man, it's a good thing I'm not one of them. Because I'll tell you, if I was, what I'd probably do is I'd draw a map to a real secluded location, and I'd have a bunch of people waiting to ambush them. That's probably what I'd
kill
do.
them.
I'd ambush them, kill them.
I'd kill them with a knife.
That's
and
what
I'd
I would
eat
do.
Their ears first. The crunchiest part of the human body.
We'd feast on their ears like we probably do. I wouldn't know because I'm not another.
I'm just Henry Gale from Minnesota.
I'm just a regular man from Minnesota. So
I had a regular sized balloon. I kept blowing it up. Next thing I know, I'm in the middle of the sky in a hot air balloon. I got my wife over here, and she says, "You said we were just going down to Costco," but me and my wife, we was going to the journey to the center of the earth. We were going to see the cap on top of hell itself.
And my wife was having none of that.
None of that.
My wife was not down, but joke's on her. She died in the crash.
She died in the crash, and I buried her with my bare hands, and I ate her ears, and they were delicious. It's cute. It's a cute little scene.
Jack and Locke don't think it's cute. Jack and Locke are immediately like, what the fuck? Currently, one of our major arcs is Can We Trust You? You're going off about chomping on ears all day.
Yeah, you were talking about how you're going to murder our friends. So, no, we can't trust you.
Gonna have to put you back in jail, buddy.
Yeah.
And
they put him in jail?
We also get a scene of the crew that has been sent out.
Yes.
This is an odd crew. It's
Bad crew.
Saeed, Charlie.
Good, bad.
Anna Lucia.
Honestly, bad.
Yeah.
Anna Lucia's not good.
Not great. And they're keeping an eye out for, they get to the point, and at first they're like, well, there's nothing here. Uh-oh, maybe we're about to get owned. But then Charlie says, guys, over here, I found a grave. But where's the balloon? And then they go, wait a second. It was raining just a second ago. Why isn't it raining anymore? And then the camera pans up, and there's a balloon. There's a big hot air balloon there.
So huge, and it's so close to them.
And it's brightly colored. It's super noticeable.
There's no way that they wouldn't have noticed it.
From like a mile away,
yeah.
Even in like a densely forested area.
Yeah.
Pretty obvious. Anyways, they found a balloon. So it seems to me like this Henry Gale guy, we might be able to trust him after all.
Story frickin' checks out.
Checks out to me. That seems fine and normal to me. I'm sure that won't ever come back to bite us in the butt. Anyways, Locke and Ben are hanging out. Locke is furiously bicycling to himself while listening to jazz.
It's cool.
We've said a lot of jokes. That is not a joke. That is literally a scene that is
real
happening.
And it's good.
He's just like pissed and biking. And like fucking
jazz makes me move my legs.
The way that piano interpolates with the rhythm section. Oh my goodness, I gotta get these legs going.
Get these legs.
Get these legs.
Get these legs.
And Locke here's a little something. Takes the needle off the record player, goes to investigate. Here's a little crackling. Some kind of voice muffling and crackling from like a little
speaker.
Little speaker in the corner. He takes a screwdriver to the speaker, tries to maybe fix it up.
He doesn't fix it. It just goes loud.
It goes loud. And then the crackling comes in. It's not just random crackling, my friend. It's saying something. And what it's saying is a countdown to 5, 4, 3, 2. ding dong, and then the lights dim, and then all these blast doors start coming down. Oh no! And Locke is locked down in the living room of the hatch.
Locked down in the living room of the hatch.
Before the blast doors finish coming down, he managed to get a crowbar under one of them. Henry is shouting this whole time too. He's like, "What the heck? What's going
on, John?
Sounds scary. Sounds like it's slamming." And at first, Locke is just like, "Yeah, everything's normal. It's fine out here. Don't worry. It's all regular. These are just the sounds that you hear all the time down here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry your fool little head."
He lies.
He lies. He's a bad liar, though.
No.
And we know he's a bad liar because he immediately says, "I don't know. We're kind of stuck. I'm trapped
Come
down.
on out here, Henry. Help me.
Help me, Henry." And Henry says, "Well, you got to promise me that your friends aren't going to hurt me anymore." And Locke says, "All right, I promise. It's okay." And so they work together to pry open a door, one of the blast doors, and with all their effort, they manage to lift it up with a little rod.
Lift it up far enough.
Henry's working with like a fresh shoulder wound. Locke is like, he's probably pretty fit, but like,
yeah, he's ripped from his bike ride.
his bike, he's just spending all that bike strength on this blast door.
Banks.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
In the biz, they call it Banks.
Banks. Lance Armstrong. Other bike boys.
Are there others?
I don't know. I see them sometimes.
They're out there. I see them on the road.
Spandex.
Yes. They've got strong banks.
They have banks.
I guess strong bike strength is a little redundant, so I'll just move on and pretend that never happened because that's
embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm just embarrassed. I'm just besides myself.
But Henry Gale is like, "I'll push this thing under.
I'll put this toolbox under, and then that'll keep it." And then they're like, "All right, I think we're good." Locke, am gonna try to crawl under this gap that we've made, and Henry is like, and here's the thing: Locke doesn't say that. He just goes.
He just goes for it,
just
and
like,
immediately the door falls on him.
Immediately, and like Henry's like, "Wait, no, Locke, shouldn't we?" And then slam on his legs, and it's
ding,
gruesome.
ding, 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 ding.
It's awful to see.
Yeah. He's hurt.
He's hurt. There's like fucking things poking in his legs. Ben has to put some more stuff under the door to even the pressure of the blast doors. And so Ben's like, "All right, listen. We'll be fine. Someone will be down here eventually. They'll help you sort this out." But then Locke says, "Listen, Ben. We can't wait around for people because listen, there's a button that we have to push. And every 108 minutes we have to push it. We don't know why, but it has to be pushed, and it's important that it's pushed. So Ben, I need to trust you on this one. Can I trust you to push the button and put these numbers in, and it has to be these exact numbers, and you have to do it for me because I'm stuck here."
And Ben's like, "I'm Henry Gale, but sure."
Ben, who? I don't know any Benjamin Linus.
I was never shot by your friend Saeed.
No, I'm just a regular Minnesotan man flying on a balloon with his loving wife.
From what is it? Walnut Ridge.
Walnut Ridge Road. From Walnut Ridge Road, I blew up my little balloon and took off. And
my wife.
Well, me and my wife, we flew across the whole world.
But it's weird because every time he says my wife, he's like, "I'm from Walnut Ridge Road and I took my wife back home." That's a really good. That's a good joke, right?
It's interesting, and I like it. I like everybody when he does that. Locke says, "Oh, you're like a funny Borat." Yeah,
you're like a funny Borat.
And Henry goes, "You've seen it? You've seen Borat."
Oh, I love Borat.
I love Borat so much. Thank you so much for saying my wife.
My wife.
Oh,
my wife.
That's maybe the least Borat like my wife I've ever heard.
My wife.
My wife.
My wife.
Hey, that's my wife.
That seems very instructional video. Where it's like the video's like, learn to protect your wife. Hey, stop it. That's my wife.
Look out for my wife.
You see her riding a horse through the town center.
You know who that is? Of course. It's my wife.
It's my wife.
That is my wife.
That is my wife.
Getting closer.
I've never seen Borat. I've never seen it.
The only other part of Borat I remember is there's a naked man sits on another naked man's face and farts, I think.
No way.
That does happen.
Wow, Borat really
Yeah.
is something else.
For some reason, that other part doesn't like translate as well into like conversation, so it gets left in the dust.
God.
I think.
Do you know what Borat called his autobiography?
My life.
My life.
My life. Get ready to read about my life.
My life.
Podcasting is easy.
So there's this door on John Locke.
The door stuck on John Locke's legs. Dear Liza,
In a bucket.
In a bucket.
So and they put things under the door and then they just sit around. They do a lot of sitting around.
They do a lot of sitting around.
Oh,
and
but John Locke is like, you got to push the numbers.
Exactly.
And Henry Gale's like, how? And
Exactly.
John Locke's like, you got to go through the air duct.
Gotta go through the fence. There's
yeah.
vents over there. And Henry Gale says, all right, I'm going to go. Here I go to do it. I think I can climb up. And then he falls down.
Oh, no.
And for a second, it seems like he's knocked out cold.
He's knocked out for like 10 seconds, which that part's stupid.
It's a very funny, like, it's like a cut to commercial where he,
Yeah.
like, falls down. And it's just, like, Locke
He's
pinned.
knocked out. And then he just gets up.
He gets up and he's fine.
Yeah.
And then he climbs in the vent. And then going forward, we just see Locke's perspective.
Yeah.
Locke is just kind of screaming and the beep and the timer's going. The timer is starting to go. It's beep, beep, beep. And Locke's
It's almost time.
It's almost time to press the button. And Locke is screaming and being like, Henry, are you there? Are you pushing the numbers? Are you doing what I said, Henry? I don't know. I'm stuck upon this door. Oh, please tell me you're doing what I'm telling you to do.
And then it all goes fucking nuts.
Cut to black. It goes dark. And then it goes ultraviolet mode. And then Locke is looking around and he looks at the door and what's been revealed by the ultraviolet light.
A weird map.
A weird map. There's a question mark in the middle. A bunch of circles. It's a map of the island and Locke can barely even process it. He's staring at it. And he's going, what the heck?
And he keeps screaming, my wife! My wife!
That's not my wife!
That's not my wife! Helen! Helen! And it's a weird map.
It's a weird bit. Locke recognizes that the map is not his. Not even. They never got
Not
married.
his wife.
Not his.
his.
Helen was not his wife. This map is not Helen. What this map is
John Locke's wife.
John Locke's wife. John Locke gets on one knee, proposes to the blast door map, and says, "Would you please be my wife?"
And the blast door map says yes.
Finally, romance for little Lockie Poo.
My wife. I don't know.
I want to explain why the map is cool.
Okay.
Locke has a reputation. Lost, the television show, ABC's hit Lost.
John Lost.
Is obviously a show built upon mysteries, the lore of the island, what piece fits where and what goes where, and it had kind of a reputation for being like a detail-oriented show and a show that you could like pause and like look at an image and like there was like blink and you'll miss it type stuff, little details here where it'd be like, whoa, you didn't catch the Dharma symbol over here, did ya? Or you didn't catch this guy being in this scene over here, did ya? This is one of the few things where like the map is like you see the blast door map for like 5 seconds or so, and it's like pretty substantial, but not long enough to actually like really make sense of it, to really process it. But if you pause, you can see that there's like all the future Dharma stations that they'll go to. Not all of them, but a lot of them are there.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few like little like
it is real foreshadowing in some capacity.
actual genuine foreshadowing that they follow up on that's relevant to the lore of the show.
Yeah.
That's relevant to the lore of the Dharma Initiative. And it's cool. I liked it. It's one of the few like things, like most of them are like, if you look here, Sawyer's here, whoopee-doo, what does that mean? But this one is like actually like I remember like when they were revealing all the other stations and being like, I saw that because I spent an hour looking at the blast door map.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That was one of the few little like background things that actually like was worth a damn.
You got a little bit of payoff.
Got a little bit of payoff from this one.
Good for them.
Good for them. They got one. They nailed one, and it was this one, I think.
But then after we get a good little look, just the lights go back on and all the blast doors go up.
Yep. And Locke's kind of crawling around, and at first it seems like Henry left him. But Henry's there. Henry came back, and Locke is so grateful. And Locke says, "You got to meet my new wife, this blast door map."
But the blast door map is gone.
It's gone.
And Henry says, "You're sick, Locke. Let's put you on a couch. We can sit and talk about our lives."
And Locke says, "Our lives? Well, let's talk about your life right now. What did you do to make the blast doors go up?" And Ben's just like, "I didn't. I just did what you said. I don't know heads or tails of this place.
Put in those numbers. I don't know.
I don't know." And they're having a good time. Locke is about to propose to Ben, and just before he can do so, he's saying, "Ben, will you be my?" And in comes the cavalry.
Wife!
Don't you dare accept that proposal, Mr. Henry Gale, because guess what? And Locke's like, whoa. I let him out. It's cool.
Saeed's pointing a gun at him, and they're being mean. They're being mean.
They're being really
Gale.
mean to Locke's new fiance. And Locke says, "Wait a second. What's going on?" Saeed proceeds to fucking really lay into the dramatics.
Yeah, oh my God. He delivers this next bit of information with so much pause between.
So much drama, so much hesitancy. Ben is like, "You guys found my balloon, right?" And then Saeed's like, "Oh, we found your balloon, Ben. We found it exactly as you described it. There was a grave, and there was a balloon, and it was all perfect. Everything you said was true. But I still was not convinced. So I exhumed your wife's grave."
Which is nuts.
Big move. Worth it, though, because guess what I found? Would have been, how embarrassing would it have been if it was...
I just dug up this man's wife.
Fuck.
And
wow.
Henry would be like, "My wife.
Guess I gotta live with this."
My wife.
Henry would have been like, "My wife.
My wife.
I loved my wife."
I loved my wife.
"And you do this to her memory?" Oh, get out. Instead, Saeed has not found Henry's wife. Saeed found the real Henry Gale,
who lives on
Minnesota, lives in 15 Walnut Ridge Road.
The ridge of a walnut. The real scandal. Where is the ridge of a walnut?
The ridge of a walnut is in Minnesota. That's where it is. The ridge of a walnut.
My wife.
I left my wife in Walnut Ridge. The ID he pulls out is
Henry Gale's.
Of Henry Gale, and
he's a different man.
It's a different man. Clearly not Benjamin Linus. Clearly living on 15 Walnut Ridge Road. We're not making up Walnut Ridge Road.
No.
The ID really says Walnut Ridge Road.
You can't make that up.
You can't make that up. The Lost Writers might have, but we didn't.
They can't. I tell you,
they cannot. You could never conceive of a Walnut Ridge.
No.
Not even if you had true sight. That's the dramatic cliffhanger it ends
That's
on.
it, yeah.
But there's one more plot.
There's a little subplot.
There's a little silly
and
subplot.
it's really good.
It's really good. It literally takes up as much screen time as Locke's flashbacks. Locke's flashbacks takes up a third. Locke being pinned to the blast door takes up a third. The other third is reserved for fun poker adventure.
It is poker.
It is poker
Kate
time.
and Hurley and Sawyer are playing poker for fruit.
They're playing poker for fruit. Jack walks over and kind of just like breaks it down, and is without looking at anybody's card is like, Hurley, you shouldn't call him. You've only got a baby straight, and this guy's got a aces kingy time.
He says that.
He
right?
says that.
He
And,
says, little kingy dingy over there.
and everybody.
Kate, oh, you're a wild card, but you're just playing for fun.
He does say that, and everybody's like, "Wow, you're so knowledgeable about poker suddenly, Jack.
Uh-huh.
How'd that happen?" And Jack sits down and says, "All right, 2's his bingy, flip on the 5, everybody, and of course,
Double dash.
double blind is 20, and go for the broke."
And he just wipes the floor clean. He steals every last piece of fruit. He has a comical pile of fruit
Mhm.
because he wins all the fruit in the
Mm.
poker game.
He wins it all.
And Sawyer's not happy about this.
Oh, so you're ever the friggin' manly man says, "Wowie, you wanna? All right, Mr. Big Shot Bucko, you think you can toss out these very real poker terms and intimidate me?" Well,
You're gonna embarrass me in front of my wife.
and in front of your wife, Sawyer, and and Sawyer says, What do you say we raise the stakes, play for something real? You name it, and I'll go for it."
The medicine, Sawyer.
The medicine you stole, Sawyer.
Fucking doctors, they got a one-track mind. They're like, the medicine. It's like, get over it.
Oh, doctors always like, how much medicine is there?
How
What
much-
kinds of medicine?
What can we use it for?
How quickly can I administer it?
And it's like, get over yourself.
Friggin', oh my god, I'm over it. Sawyer's not, though. Neither is Jack. Kate is, though. Kate and Hurley are both like, Kate brings actual real heat here. As soon as Kate gets a whiff of these guys fucking going at it, Kate literally says, should I go get a ruler?
To, like, measure their dongs.
To, like, are you guys gonna, like, whip out your little penises? And they're probably tiny.
Are you gonna whip out your tiny little dicks?
And are you guys gonna measure them actually to the millimeter? Is that how insecure you little men are? And
Show me your 9mm penis.
and the audience stands up and claps because Kate is just saying what we're thinking.
So it's like, you're not supposed to know that. The only person who knows that is my wife.
So it's just Jack and Sawyer. It's just Jack v. Sawyer.
Yeah.
And they're fighting for the medicine. They're playing poker for the medicine. And Jack makes a bet, and Sawyer says, "You know what? I'll call you with an aspirin, and I'll raise you with a Floxy Boxy or whatever." And they have a funny little exchange. And they have a funny little exchange where Jack's like, "Do you even know what that's for?" And Sawyer's like, "Well, listen, you may have been to Thailand, but I've been to Tallahassee." Jack is understandably confused.
He's so confused.
Sawyer elaborates and says, "Well, let's just say there was a burning sensation, and it wasn't from the sun.
He had an STD.
He had a little STD.
And that's what the medicine is for. It's STD medication.
And he's willing to part with it.
Yeah.
Such is for this game.
Yeah.
Uh,
And this is from the guy who fucks the most in the show.
yes, canonically, the most known fucks.
So that's big.
It's pretty big. So that's how you know Sawyer's in it for real. Also, while this is happening, Hurley is watching from 2 feet away with a pair of binoculars and
It's insane.
and narrating it to the other people who
It's
can see what's
insane.
happening.
They're so close.
They're so close. And Jack is using this to leverage Sawyer. Jack goes all in and says you're going to go all in too cuz these guys are watching and you don't want to lose. And Sawyer caves and goes all in. But Jack was bluffing. Jack went all in on a pair of friggin' 9s. And Sawyer didn't
Pair
have
of 5s.
pair of 5s.
Idiot.
And he loses it all. And Sawyer says, "Frig it. Here's all the medicine. But wait a second. One little last thing. Mr. Jack, you know I famously stole all the guns."
In the first episode of The Island Shuffle.
In the first episode of The Island Shuffle, I stole all the guns. This would have been a great opportunity for you to get them back. Why didn't you? And Jack hits him with, "When I want the guns, I'm gonna get the guns.
Which is a dope line,
Yeah.
and it's cool to see Jack be cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I feel like just the posing of the question is funny, where it's like, why didn't you ask for all the guns? When it's like, well, he asked for all the medicine.
Yeah, I feel like that's an equally like.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he ask for all the medicine?
Yeah.
Or like, what has the state of the island been since Sawyer has had the medicine?
Yeah.
That Jack is like just like, well, better beat him at poker now.
I don't know. It's very weird. But it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun.
I was mentioning
like a
this.
gun.
I love all the fucking shit. They don't do this ever in the latter half of the season, but all
Yeah.
the shit where they're just having fun.
Yeah.
When they're playing golf, they're playing ping pong. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's just fun. And that's the episode.
That's it.
Happy episode, everybody.
It was good. This was back when the show was a fun show.
The show was a perfectly fine show, and it was pretty damn good. This is an episode that I always kind of like forget about.
Yeah.
But I think all the stuff where Locke and the tension between Locke and Henry is good, where it's like, should we trust Henry? Obviously, you and I know that we shouldn't trust Henry, but that's neither here nor there.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Hindsight is 20/20. So listen, I have a feeling, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I have a feeling this episode might have raised a couple.
I'm gonna answer all the questions that were raised by this episode.
This episode raised a question or two, and once I find the questions, we can ask them to you.
From lostpedia.fandom.org.
That's exactly the famous Lostpedia that we all know and love.
That's really good. I like that someone has gathered all of these ambiguous self-implied.
It's really good. Lostpedia, genuinely a pretty good resource if you're looking to like remember some random bullshit about Lost. Here's what it is. Okay, cool. What triggered the lockdown?
I don't know.
Well, of course, it was activated in conjunction with the food drop as a part of the, quote, lockdown and restocking procedure.
Oh, that's
unquote.
interesting. That makes sense, actually.
We kind of skipped over a scene where Jack and Kate are wandering around, and they find, like, a supply drop
Big thing of food.
Big thing of food fell from the sky. And they
Yeah.
go, what the heck is this? But then they run into Saeed, and Saeed says, I got news. And that's that.
Cool.
Why did Jack visit Thailand? This is alluded to in the poker conversation.
He visited Thailand to find his dad,
Close.
to find his brother, to find his mom, to save a baby.
He went to Thailand to find himself, of course.
Ew.
Yeah,
Idiot.
you indeed. We'll see that episode, and it'll be great. Why did black lights briefly turn on before the lockdown ended?
Because party time. The lockdowns and then 10-second party. Marry a door.
Yeah, the other thing we forgot to mention is that when the lockdown ends, the black lights come up, and then a bunch of glow sticks fall from the ceiling.
Party
and it starts
time.
playing the Venga
The
Bus song.
lockdowns and then.
And it starts playing that song
Yeah.
with a 4x4 beat in the background, 130 BPM, and everybody's just lasers going off. And Locke would be having a great time if he weren't pinned to the ground. Of course,
Stupid idiot.
that's his own fault. It literally is his own fault. He
Yeah.
just goes under the
I
door
know.
without even saying a goddamn word.
Yeah.
Even evil Henry is like,
There's
hey.
so many things better to put under the door for like a long-term
Mhm.
solution than
because
a toolbox.
Because the toolbox goes under, like, when they're putting the toolbox under, it's literally like they're, like, prying it open. They're like, oh, I'm losing grip. We gotta just put something under there.
Put the toolbox in. And then he's like, well, there's the toolbox.
Guess
all
it's
good.
safe. Guess
Yeah,
it's probably safe.
stupid.
Dumbass. Here's the actual answer. The black lights and lockdown ending both seemed to coincide with Ben pushing the button. Of course, we know that.
Mhm.
Given that Radzinski developed the Swan, it's likely he had them installed for the purpose of his secret map. In disputed canon, the backlights could also be activated directly through the computer.
Who is disputing the canon?
The citation for that disputed canon is Lost Via Domus, which is the official Lost video game.
That is disputed canon.
I've never played it. One thing I remember hearing about the video game is that they didn't get all the cast. So, like, I think, like, Michael Emerson's voice is real, but, like, a lot of it is sound-alikes.
Wow.
So I kind of want to play it just to hear, like, fake Locke or
That's
whatever.
Cool.
Why was there an invisible map drawn on the blast door?
I don't know.
Well, this is just a simple, quick little.
Rudzinski did it.
Several paragraphs
Ew.
long one. It was begun by Rudzinski as a personal project during his stay in the Swan Station, though the use of a manually triggered lockdown in his photographic memory. It was later continued by Kelvin, who was Desmond's hatchmate back in the day. It marked the findings and confirmations Rudzinski made during his travels across the island during brief departures from the Swan. According to disputed canon, again, it was intended for use as a layout in Rudzinski's continued war with the hostiles, suggesting that this is why the map was hidden from open view, for security purposes. The citation for that is the Lost Encyclopedia, which is that thick tome that I once
like
brought
that
in
better.
Here. Yeah, I like the Lost Encyclopedia a lot better. And that also makes more sense. That's okay, that tracks with the Rudzinski asshole I know. What is the meaning of the large question mark in the middle of the map?
Is this the cap above hell?
Is this it? I don't know. Could be it.
It must be the cap above hell.
Great Rudzinski. We're trying to find the cap above hell.
Trying to find the cap above hell.
Maybe it's in the middle of the island. It marks the location of the Pearl Station. Rudzinski or Kelvin had not yet identified the station's designation and purpose. So that's interesting. I didn't realize the map was built by people who didn't know the whole Dharma layout. They're just kind of like guessing. They're like, something over here. I don't know.
What's the Pearl?
The Pearl is the one with all the monitors that's watching the Swan Station.
Oh, I see.
John Locke goes there and he's like, what the heck? The button's a fake. But turns out
button's real.
The watchmen were being watched, etc.
Yeah.
Who dropped the Dharma food supplies?
Some people.
More or less. This whole thing is, I'm going to save that paragraph because it's too long.
Stupid.
What is Henry Gale's real name?
Ben Linus.
They specifically say here, Benjamin, quote, Ben, unquote, Linus, which is great.
We know.
Yeah. Why did Henry come to the survivors so well prepared in his guise?
Because he thought about it.
He thought about it and he's a conniver. He was already planning to come to the encampment before it being inadvertently caught by Russo. He claims that he was coming to bring Locke back with him to the others, as Locke is one of the, quote, good ones, hence why he helped Locke during the lockdown. He may have also been attempting to meet Jack to find out what he was, quote, emotionally invested in, unquote, that he could exploit to get him to perform surgery on him.
That's cool.
And according to disputed canon, a lot of disputed canon in this one. He was trying to find out more about the survivors in general. That seems...
Yeah, that's fair.
That doesn't seem like hard to dispute at all.
No.
Isn't that like the other's whole MO? What is the real story of the real Henry Gale? This is the final
Ben
one.
Linus.
No, the real Henry Gale.
Oh, he came to the island and got killed.
Pretty much. It is implied that the others captured Henry following his crash and interrogated him before executing him. This suggests that a lot of the details Ben used were a part of the real Henry's background, minus the involvement of his wife. The balloon had
wife.
This is interesting. The balloon had a logo for Widmore Labs on it. I missed this.
Yeah.
And the writers hinted that Henry was colluding with Charles Widmore in his search for the island. Hence, the others killed Henry to protect the island from Widmore.
Good.
Great job, everybody. They did it. That's great questions, great answers.
What do you say we watch another one?
Let's watch another one. I'm ready to watch another episode of my favorite television show, and it's called
random.org. I'm going to put one at 30.
Please.
You know, hit generate?
Please.
20.
Funny 20.
Season 4?
Season 4, episode 9, The Shape of Things to Come. And speaking of old friggin' Henry Gale, it's a Ben Linus episode.
Oh, cool. That's good. I'm down for that.
I think... No, this is not our last Ben Linus episode. So, we will enjoy that next week. If memory serves, this is a big one. Thank you so much for listening to our silly little show about the show Lost. You can follow me, Bean on Twitter at Barrier Trio.
You can follow me at James Brown.
You can follow the show at Island Shuffle or on Facebook.com/The Island Shuffle. You can find us on Spotify, on Stitcher, and wherever else podcasts are made and manufactured. iTunes, Google Play. Give us a 5-star review if you want. And finally, we want to shout out Noisepace.xyz for hosting us and being so kind and generous.
Thanks, big boys.
If you like us, you should check out some of their other podcasts, including The Wonder Years, Jergin It, and My Pod Cabbages.
Yes.
And so many more. It's a bevy of a good time here at Noisepace.
It's a big beverage.
It's a big beverage. And why don't you come on down and take a cool, refreshing sip of podcast? And like we say at the end of this sip of the podcast, get lost. Sip, 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 refreshing.